Well, hey guys, welcome to the Top Producer Club podcast. My name is Emmaus Vanderbilt. I'm the owner of Charlotte Real Estate Media, a real estate media company based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Today, I'm here with Travis Wilson. What's up, man?
Oh, man, excited to be here.
Travis, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast. I met you a couple months ago, actually, whenever I was capturing a listing for you, and then we just hit it off. We've been great friends since. Had some hibachi food over that. We go to church together.
Yep.
We're going to start playing pickleball together sometime soon.
Maybe this weekend.
Yeah, maybe this weekend. And yeah, I'm excited to have you on the podcast. So first of all, just go ahead and tell me some about you, brokerage you're with, and how long you've been in real estate.
Well, like you said, I'm Travis Wilson. I've been in real estate. March of 25 will be 4 years. Sometimes it feels like longer than that, but I got into real estate because my mom was a real estate agent, is still a real estate agent, has been over 10 years. My dad is a residential appraiser. He has his own business, Wilson Appraisals, and he's done that for over 25 years. I know real estate agents don't like appraisers, but I'll give him a pass because he's my dad. But I'm with Premier South Real Estate in Belmont. We've got 2 offices, over 250 agents. I started out with a larger brokerage and then came to Premier South. Been there for 2 years now, and I love it, man. Love helping people and love what I do. So it's been a great time so far. Lots of challenges, highs and lows, but it's been good.
I love it, man. And if you had to give a quick shout out to a couple people over with your friends over at Premier South, who would those people be?
Oh my gosh, how much time do you have? I mean, first of all, I the first shout out would be my mom, because for years she begged me, you got to get into real estate. You'd be great at it. You'd love it. And I was in all these other different jobs and finally made the switch, and I do love it. So I should have done it sooner. So thankful to her for getting me in the business.
And your mom is the sweetest person ever.
Yeah.
I captured a listing for her the other day. She is so kind.
Shout out Tammy Wilson, because she is, I'm not just saying this because she's my mom. She's truly a great real estate agent. She's so good at staying on top of meeting with clients and the birthday cards and the pop buys and all the Facebook and social media. She's awesome. But she got me into it. Like I said, we started at a different brokerage that she was with at the time, switched to Premier South because of the owner, Angela Black, who you also know, and I think you've done some shoots for her, haven't you, or one or something? But she's incredible. As far as just other people at the office, our broker in charge, Stacy Johnson's awesome. Catherine Roberts, CCAT Sale, I know you've done some work with her too. And, of course, Ivory Craig, Presley. I mean, we've got so many great agents. It's such a great group to be a part of. I was telling you before the show that I wanted to be somewhere where I wasn't the top dog in the office. I wanted to be somewhere where I can be inspired by other agents that are doing bigger things even than I'm doing, and better things. And I love that. There's such a great mix of people there.
I love that. So you've been doing it for about 4 years, you said, or 4 or coming on 5, you said?
Almost 4.
Almost 4
Yep.
years. And how did you get started in real estate? I know everyone has like a 10-minute version, but if you had to condense it down into 60 seconons.
Okay. I don't know if I'm capable of that. You'll learn.
Okay.
I talk too much anyway. But,
Sure.
Hey, it's what a podcast is for, right? I worked... I guess I'll just start by saying I started in radio, oddly enough, because I thought, well, I've got a face for radio. And my mom's like, you talk a lot. Radio is something that you could just talk a lot on. And from doing that, it sort of got me into the sales side, too, because that was my way into radio, was to be able to sell radio advertising. And I did a little bit of on-air stuff and some programming, but radio's fun. It's hard to make money in unless you're just top talent or you work in it a really long time. So finally, I made a switch, and I worked at a motorcycle dealership for 7 years, ended up being the sales manager. I was the service manager for about a year over service and parts, which, didn't realize at the time, but all of those things have helped me so greatly in real estate. And right around COVID, real estate, you used to have to do the classes in person. They gave an option to do classes online. And I thought, well, this is my time if I'm ever going to do it. And I heard some rumors that the dealership that I was at, they were going to sell to another motorcycle dealership. So I thought, it's just rumors, but let me be prepared. Went ahead, got my real estate license, and it's like as soon as I got it, the dealership sold. So it was just such perfect timing. But then, it's right at the beginning of all the COVID stuff going on. So I got a job at a restaurant in Belmont, The Lodge, and I was working as a server even 3.5 years ago to make this transition. So I go in, I train for 2 weeks. It's humbling to go from sales manager in this position you've been at for 7 years to now I'm a server, and a 19-year-old's teaching me how to fill up the drinks and take them to the table
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. But there's so much I gained in that experience too that's helped me in real estate and being able to get through it. I trained for 2 weeks at the restaurant, and then they come out and they say, hey, we got to shut down because of COVID now. So here I am, no job, just got told I can't do the restaurant. I've got a real estate license, a few things I'm starting working on, but no money right away, and didn't know what I would do. It was 5 months in real estate before I got my first check.
Oh, wow.
But I worked those 5 months, and my mom, again, I go back to how much she influenced me and helped me. She essentially let me co-list one of her listings with her and 50-50, which is just, you don't get that much. So I'm so grateful for her to do that. And when I finally did get that first check, ended up having 2 or 3 closings that month, and things have just kind of been rolling from there. Of course, you have your highs and lows, but that's sort of how I got into it. And even through the real estate school, as I mentioned, my dad's an appraiser. So it was just great to be able to go to my dad for questions or go to my mom for questions and have somebody there to help me. And again, back on why I love Premier South, there's so many agents there that you can go to anybody, and they're all so supportive. Collaboration over competition. We're not competing with each other there. We're all a team and want to help each other out. And it's been awesome. And now that I've met you, you're elevating my marketing game with the videos and the drone footage and the tours, and you are incredible at what you do and incredibly talented. And I'm glad to be a part of a lot of what you're doing now.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And it's interesting. Even though I heard part of your backstory before, I never heard until today, honestly, how much pain that must have been, from the dealership getting sold to starting the job until that getting cut. Would you say all those, first of all, I think it's fair to say those are probably qualified as storms of life.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel like you're on the high, you're a sales manager, and then it feels like it's a shipwreck. Mm-hmm. And then things are starting to fall apart. Even though I bet you would never want to go through that again, with you on the other side of it, would you say that's been a beneficial part of who you are today and some of the character traits it's instilled in you? Absolutely.
And I don't think, as many regrets as I do have and things I wish I could change, I don't know that I would change anything, because it sounds so cliche, but it makes you who you are today. And the person I am today, as you know, not even the same person I was 3 months ago, much less a year or 3 or 4 years ago. So always growing, always changing, and those struggles and the storms are what make you tougher. And in real estate, you really have to have thick skin. We've talked about this before. You can work for months on a deal and then it just fall apart and it be totally out of your control. Or you work on a listing and for whatever reason, you're not able to accomplish the goal, and they want to drop you and try another agent, and you've put marketing and expenses and time into that, and you have to be able to know how to handle those low moments. So I think a lot of the low moments that I've had in life have prepared me to know that when I hit those moments, hey, I've been through this before, I'm going to see it through again. And yeah, I think it has helped, and don't know that I would necessarily change anything, like you said.
But you probably don't want to go through it again.
Don't want to go through it again. No, I would prefer to just let's keep rolling.
I learned that lesson. I'm good to go.
Yeah, I mean, even this year, I'll give you a perfect example of real estate. I've had the best year financially I've ever had. And 90% of what I've earned this year came from January 1st to July 15th.
Really?
And the other 10% has been over the last few months since that time. And then now, fortunately, I've had some things kind of pick up, and I just had got a closing coming up in December, and a new listing coming up, which is exciting. So things are happening, but there's no consistency. The motorcycle dealership was tough because no matter how hard I worked, it seemed like I could never cross that $55,000 a year mark, and it was just always a struggle. But at least with that, there was consistency. Each week I knew that check was going to hit on Friday. With real estate, you might have a $20,000 month, and then you might not get paid for 2 months. And you got to know how to manage the money. And people ask me all the time about getting into real estate and what should you do. You got to be prepared to know how to manage your money, because you can't count on anything until it closes, gets recorded, and you see that wire coming through in your account. Because until that happens, there's no guarantee on it.
Isn't that the running joke among agents where they say, my mentor taught me, do not count your eggs until they're actually hatched, or don't count your chickens until they're hatched.
Yeah.
And on the flip
100%.
side, I'll see some new agents. They'll say, "I had a showing today," and then they'll go and buy a new car because they think
Right.
the money's coming in a month.
Yeah. I got a new listing. Let's go celebrate and eat dinner.
Oh, my goodness,
No, don't
yeah.
do it yet. Don't do it yet. Wait till it closes.
Have to make sure.
Because seriously, we've had issues. My mom and I co-listed a home in Kings Mountain a couple years ago, and it was closing in January. The seller was out of town. He's already had everything out of his house. So, and the buyers were not going to be able to go do a final walkthrough. So as the seller agents, listing agents, we said, hey, we'll go walk through and make sure everything's good for you. Well, we show up that morning, it's 50 degrees in the house. The heat stopped working the morning of. Well, buyers aren't going to want to jump in and sign when their
Of course,
heat just
for a
went
brand
out.
new home.
Yeah, in January, and it's 40 degrees outside. So those challenges where you're scrambling, and there's been times where as agents, buyers and sellers don't even see this. We have paid $400, $500, $600 out of pocket to get a deal to close, and sometimes the buyers don't even see that or understand that. In that case, it all worked out, and we had somebody come out and fix it, and the seller paid for it, and it was good.
That's good.
But we've had people at the closing table, parties on the other side of the transaction, wait a minute, this don't look right, or I don't know, I'm getting cold feet, and you can have deals fall apart at the closing table after you've spent months working on it.
Of course. and I at least want to say, don't let that scare you if you're thinking about, oh my goodness, I shouldn't get into real estate, because it's a wonderful market to get into. But I think what Travis is trying to say is it's not a magic genie where you just pick up, oh wow, you pay $500-$600 for a license and schooling and tests, and wow, you instantly make $30K a month like they teach you on TikTok.
Right.
You have to work hard. And sometimes I'll text Travis, like today he walked into the studio. I said, how's your day going? He said, man, I was up till like 12:30 last night
I was
working.
up till 2 working.
At 2 a.m. working. I'm sorry. And to him, 12:30 would be an early bedtime.
Yeah.
To him. He was up till 2 working and grinding. And that's part of what you have to do as an agent. Now, a question for you. I should have done my research to get an exact number, but what percentage of agents quit after the first year? I've heard lots of numbers from different people.
Yeah, I think it's something statistically like 85 to 90% quit in the first 5 years.
5 years,
There's
okay.
another number in the first 2 years that's extremely high too. It's 70, 75%. Have not looked at the recent numbers, so
Sure.
don't quote me on that. But I can tell you from personal experience. Like I said, I got licensed March 1st of 2021, so I'm almost 4 years. I know at least 5 or 6 people personally that got licensed at the same time or after that are no longer in the business. And they're just as transparent as I can be, because like you said, don't want to discourage anybody if you wanted to come into real estate, but it's not a cakewalk like people
It's
think
tough,
it is.
man. You have to work.
Yeah.
You got to grind.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is you have to understand that it is tough. And as far as what you said about like it being a good market, it's really not great right now for a few different reasons. But when I first got into it, I was looking up things online, and I saw a forum that said somebody had posed the question, is now a good time to get into real estate? And the top answer was from an experienced agent that said, if you're asking that question, this may not be the job for you. And I was like, what does he mean by that? That don't make sense. I want to know if it's a good time to get into real estate. And he goes on to explain that there's always going to be ups and downs. Real estate changes all the time. There's not been, in my short time that I've been in it, every few months it feels like I'm in a different market in so many ways. The good agents are the ones that can consistently wake up and say, no matter what the market conditions are, no matter what's happening, people are going to be buying and selling houses every single day. So how do I become a part of that? How do I find my way into that? Because they're going to do it. They're going to use somebody or do it for sale by owner. So you just got to be prepared to go after it and work. And I think the other part about it that's kind of tough with real estate as opposed to another job, when I worked at the motorcycle dealership, hey, Mass, I'm working here at the motorcycle dealership. You ever need a four-wheeler or dirt bike, anything, give me a call. And y'all have got a beautiful baby coming soon. Maybe you want a dirt bike in a few years or a four-wheeler. You think,
Yes.
oh, Travis, I'm going to call and I'm going to do that and work with him. I have friends that say, hey, we'll use you 100%, but they might not move for 10 years. They might support me. They might like all my Instagram posts and Facebook and YouTube, but
Likes don't pay the bills, man.
exactly. So you can have all the support.
Yeah.
I thought because I had built up a reputation in Belmont and my area in Gaston County, and I thought because so many people knew me from the dealership and I had so many customers that people would just use me. One guy in particular, I won't say his name, bought probably 7 or 8 four-wheelers, side-by-sides, machines from me. Buddy, when you get your real estate license, I'm going to use you. We're going to sell and buy. Absolutely, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm counting on it. 3 months after I get my license, his house goes up for sale with another agent. I'm like, is it something I did? Is it something wrong? And that's where I go back to the thick skin. You cannot, if you get hung up on that and get so upset about a family member that doesn't use you or a friend that doesn't use you or the market's slow this month, it's going to be challenging. But if you have that attitude, the positive attitude of I'm going to go in and work and I'm going to find a way to make this work, you can absolutely make it work. And it's such a rewarding job. I got 4 hours of sleep. I was up till 2 this morning, and it sounds miserable. But yesterday I was taking my kids to school. I took my kid to school this morning. You know,
You have freedom, man.
it's like kind of the joke is like, oh, you make your own schedule. And I always tell people, yeah, you get to pick which 80 hours of the week you work.
Correct.
So you're still working as much, but you do have some flexibility. And that's the really tough part when you've got, hey, let's go eat dinner on Saturday afternoon. And then somebody calls and says, hey, can you show me this house Saturday afternoon? And as an agent, you have to make that decision. Do I spend time with my family? And maybe they go see it with somebody else and they close and that agent makes a great commission on it. And I've missed out all on that because I wanted one afternoon. Or do you say, hey, sorry, family, this could be big. You go show that house and then the buyer says, no, we don't like it. And you go home and you've missed that time with your family. Or you have to decide, do I pay another agent to go do a showing for me? And then I can still work the deal if they decide to buy it. It's the family life balance that I think everybody has to figure out, and you do as well with your job. And but it's all kind of a net positive once it all
Of course.
works together, gets figured out. And it's also one of those things that your repeat and referral business is huge. So the longer you're in the business, if you can suffer through those rough times early on, the better it gets. I know agents that have told me it was year 4, 5, 6 before they really started getting that repeat and referral business. I'm almost 4 years, and I'm just now getting people calling me, hey, we're ready to move again. We've been here 2 years. We don't have to pay capital gains tax on our money we've made on it. We're ready to go. Or the best calls, you get those, hey, my cousin's wanting to move, and we told them how awesome you were, and they're supposed to be calling you later today. And
That's so good.
The referrals are the best. I mean, you know, with your
That's like
business.
Christmas morning, man. Whenever someone reaches out, you don't have to do cold calling. You don't have to run a Facebook ad. And that was actually about to lead into my second question. Out of the other, let's just even be conservative. 80% of agents quit after 5 years. So with you about to hit that mark and not just surviving, but being a top producer, being an industry-leading real estate agent, what are some of the ways that you have stood out, not just from the people who survive, but who actually thrive, especially in the early years?
Again, if you've watched any amount of social media and you see agents, this is going to sound like it's going to sound so cliche, but being authentic is the thing that I hear most of the time, I guess, that people appreciate with me. If you see my social media, it's different than your typical real estate agent's social media, I would say. But I've had leads from Instagram where they literally say, you seem so relatable and you don't seem like one of these stuffy in the suits, like here's 3 tips to do this. Like you're relatable and you seem like you care and you seem like you will go the extra mile for your clients. And that's important to me is showing people that, look, I'm a real person with a wife and kids. And I know a lot of people hate real estate agents. They've got this stigma about them. I just took a continuing education class recently, and statistically, when people are polled, when they're asked what are the least trustworthy professions, realtors are up there.
That's so sad. It shouldn't be that way.
It's unfortunate, but after getting into real estate, I understand why completely, because when I see a $700,000 home in Belmont, and I see it on MLS, and they've got 12 cell phone pictures, and there's junk all over the house, and there's things that they easily could have done to market that property better. They're not doing any videos. They're not doing broker opens, open house. They're just putting it on MLS and hoping it sells. It makes me sick because I feel like they're doing such a disservice to their clients.
Of course.
So when you have clients that have an agent like that, and that's your experience, and then it ends and you see that $9,000 went to pay your real estate agent, you're like, for what?
And after sitting on the market for 4 months, 17 price adjustments.
Absolutely. Oh, they stuck a sign in the yard and took some pictures like, why am I paying this? Flip side of that, if you look at some of my reviews or if you were able to talk to some of my clients, they would tell you, man, it was worth every penny. We would have paid more because of what he was able to accomplish for us, and we could see what he was doing for us. And I think a scary part of that with agents too is we always try to make the process so smooth for the client that you don't always see the behind the scenes. So we might be working out an issue for 4 hours and you never know about it, me and the other agent. And so I've tried to get better at telling my clients, this is what I did today for your deal. This is what I did today for your deal. Because I want them to understand that I'm being compensated for the work I'm doing. It's not just
Tossing
some
out
number
money,
for
of
putting a
course.
sign out there. So
No, I love
yeah.
that. And something that Travis does really well is that he doesn't just hire. For example, whenever I capture photos for his listings, he doesn't just say, "Yep, you just go out there, take the pictures, do video, whatever," and then like the agent never sees Travis.
Right.
Anytime that happens, Travis is there. What I like about him, he actually films his own videos. He'll sometimes bring another agent or 2 or 5 to go just film, not just a typical walkthrough video, a fun, creative video. He'll use professional pictures, a 3D tour, drone photos, and he will use every marketing tool in his arsenal to help his listing stand out from the competition. And what I tell agents all the time is you're not just marketing that house, but you're marketing yourself as an agent. Because what if their neighbor wants to move and they say, I wonder who helped him sell that home, and they see a bunch of terrible iPhone photos. Man, it really took him 6 months to sell that home. Man, he was never even there. He sent out a 16-year-old to put the sign in. Like, he didn't even go out there and shake your hand. Yeah. Versus, man, Travis, he gave me a 3D. I don't even know how to use a 3D. He gave me that. And he was out there filming a reel with a couple agents for an hour or 2. And, man, he treated it like it was his own place. And, again, you're not just selling the home, but you're selling you as an agent. Because what I've at least heard, and I'm not a licensed agent, but from my other friends, is referrals are Christmas Day. It is the bread and butter of your business are referrals.
Absolutely. There's a lot I could say on that, but yeah, referrals, amazing. You see all the jokes like, what do you want for Christmas? We just want your referrals. That's it.
Of course.
Because referrals are easier to work with. People do business with people they like and trust. So if I go to you and you know me and I say, Emmaus, this guy John is excellent at what he does, and if you need this service, I would highly recommend him. You're going to feel much more comfortable going to that guy. So when you tell somebody, hey, go talk to my buddy Travis. If you've got real estate questions, he's the guy to talk to. They have that confidence coming to me. I have that confidence knowing that you've talked to them, and yeah, it's awesome for sure. The referrals.
I love it, and that sort of ties into my next question, because there's so many agents who are brand new at this or who've been in it for 1 year. And whenever I do like headshot events for sometimes home builders, they'll hire me, do headshots, meet new agents, and a lot of the time I'll meet agents who've been doing it for 6 months to a year or 2 years, and then I'll just have a conversation with them. How's it going for you? And a lot of the time I hear, I've had like 1 listing and it's pretty tough, and they feel discouraged, and they're not really. And I look at their Instagram; they have 2 posts, and one's of them and their dog they got 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of new agents struggling. And for someone who's definitely not just doing a job, but standing out and being a top producer, what is a tip? If you could give 1 tip to a new agent or an agent who's struggling, what would that be?
A lot of agents that struggle, that are brand new, sit at home and wait for the deal to come to them. They'll pay to have their name on a billboard or sponsor a football team, or they might do some posts and stuff like you said. Real estate is a contact sport, and I think that I actually heard that from Ricky Caruth, maybe, who's a real estate trainer and agent and been doing it for years, and kind of polarizing figure in some ways, but it's a contact sport. I'll give you a perfect example. A couple years ago, Ashley Cameron with Costner Law right here in Belmont started a Bark in the Park dog adoption event. Didn't know anything about it, but I thought, hey, this seems like something cool to be a part of. So me and my mom sponsor a table, first annual dog park event, whatever. I meet another lender there from Atlantic Bay. His name's Ryan Johnston. Great guy. We talk, hand the card, that's it. Kind of see him again a month or so later. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. But the connection was made. One day after we dropped our kids off at school, my wife and I said, let's go to Everyday Market in Belmont and get a coffee and have some breakfast. We go down there. Ryan's in there, that lender that I met at the Bark in the Park event. He said, hey, I just got off the phone with an agent in Cornelius or somewhere. He said he had a call from an agent in Louisiana asking who the Belmont real estate agent is that they need to use because they have a referral from Louisiana moving. And they reached out to Ryan because they knew Ryan was in Belmont. And Ryan's like, hey, it's you.
Wow.
I got the
That's
deal.
so good.
I had to pay a referral to the Louisiana agent that sent it to me, but essentially I got 75% of a deal that I wouldn't have had otherwise. They bought a very nice house in Belmont, and they moved from Louisiana to December. So all of that you could really trace back to I did that Bark in the Park event. I met him. I showed up at a coffee shop that day. I saw him, so it was top of mind, and I get that deal. So that's kind of a long way around to say, if you're a new agent struggling, get out and meet people. If it's going to the YMCA, if it's going to people at your church or that you golf with or go kayaking with, or you've got to find your thing that you do. And actually, a big part of this I got from Brett Caraway, who's a great agent, really a top producer in Belmont and owns North Star. And he talks about that too. Like his thing is golf. He's like, I get all these deals, but I'm out golfing with these people, and they know me and they trust me. And so don't just sit at home and wait on the deals. If it's going to a coffee shop, even if you sit there with a water and have your laptop out working, somebody comes in that knows you, they see you, it's top of mind, real estate. And when you're out, that's how the deals come together, I think.
That's so wise.
And on the social media too. You talked about the promoted posts and boosting posts and different things. You don't have to do that either. It's free advertising. If you get 12 people that like your post, that's 12 people that saw it for free. It cracks me up when people are like, man, I only got 300 views. Okay, would you go into a middle school auditorium and talk in front of 300 people about your real estate business if you could? Absolutely. For free? Absolutely. So the social media I really took advantage of. I was doing Instagram, posting every single day for 9 months before I had my first lead. And then last year, half of my business was from Instagram for the whole year.
Wow.
So it's kind of funny. I'm not going to say the name, but had an agent telling me early on, you're wasting your time on social media. That's not how you do it. You need to be out doing pop buys. You need to be doing this. You're wasting your time. And I just saw a different vision. I didn't think I was wasting my time doing it. And I'm telling you, after 9 months of doing it consistently and kind of getting burned out, when I got that first Instagram DM that said, hey, you got time for a real estate question?
You're like, yes, take that.
Yeah, let's talk. 3
Let's
months
go.
later, we sold their house.
Come on.
$545,000. A month or two after that, they buy a house in Belmont, $629,000. You're talking about over a million in volume on 2 transactions that happened because I'm posting silly videos on Instagram and just trying to be
course.
relatable. And when I got into it, I immediately started following a bunch of agents to see like what are all these agents doing, and they were all doing the same things. So I was like, I got to do something a little bit different. And I kind of fell into the trap. I call it the trap of I tried to follow all the trending audio. I tried to hit every trend, and then you start to realize that every other agent's doing the same thing. So I kind of made it a point to say, no, if I'm going to do something, I want it to be original. If we're going to do a trend, it's going to have our original take on it, like kind of what we've done in a reel before. So I love the social media aspect of it, and you got to take advantage of it. I think while it's free marketing.
I love that. And you already answered my last question. It was going to be how has social media helped you become a top producer, and you just answered it. And guys, I want to encourage you with something. If you're brand new, or even if you've been doing it for a few years, take advantage of social media, mainly because it is free. I heard one of my coaches tell me recently, he said, guys, 30 years ago, if you were a brand new real estate agent, the way people find out about you is if you pass out business cards at the grocery store, if you have enough money to buy a commercial on the radio, you buy a billboard.
Or a park bench.
Yeah, or like a park bench. Everything I have in common besides passing out business cards at the grocery store is that it costs money. It takes a lot of money to do those things, and nowadays the barrier to entry is so low. So if you're brand new, or if you're struggling and you've been doing it for a few years, maybe you're part-time and want to go full-time, check out Travis Wilson's Instagram. And honestly, don't copy his ideas exactly, but copy maybe some of his concepts of being original, being likable, not wearing a suit and using proper words all the time. Just be a real person. Follow what he does, because he is killing the game in Charlotte and Belmont area.
Kind.
And I guess my last question for you is where can people find you, whether they want to send a referral or just have questions for you, or if they're looking to buy or sell?
Yeah, I will tell you, I give my cell phone out to everybody, and it is online. And Maybe not the smartest thing because my phone blows up all day long, but you can text me or call me at 704-747-1949. On social media, on Instagram and TikTok, it's Real Estate Travis, but there's underscores between each word. So it's real underscore estate underscore Travis. But one thing I've done, and I'm so glad I started early doing this, I know hashtags are kind of going out, not nearly as important as they used to be, but everything I've done across all my platforms, I always hashtag Real Estate Travis without the underscores, just hashtag Real Estate Travis. So now if you go to Google and Google hashtag Real Estate Travis, you'll see my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, my website. You should have everything there. So that would be awesome. Would love for anybody listening to this to reach out. Even if you're in another state, I've got connections all over the United States and even in some other countries where we could get you hooked up with a referral partner that could take care of you. If you're local, I would love to talk to you and love to meet you. And if you're local and you work with me, you're going to be meeting Emmaus because he's going to be helping us on some marketing and stuff. But yeah, and I guess I'll give a little plug, even though we haven't been doing this. Me and my buddy Taylor McClure with Lantern Realty, we started a podcast a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago at this point, and we did 50 episodes, and we've had a lot of really great agents and guests on there, and it's called the Realty Chronicles. So after you listen to this podcast, if you've got some time, search the Realty Chronicles. There's 50 episodes. Some of them make me cringe to my core to listen to just because either I've changed so much or, you just grow as a person. Yeah. There's things I wish I could say differently or change, but some of them I'm actually really proud of some of the episodes because some of the guests we've had, Kim Sells Concord, huge following on TikTok, Jenna Black, huge following on TikTok, Brett Caraway, huge following, and all of these people are very, very high top producer agents. So go check out that as well.
Definitely. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to say for you too, man, because I know you've made this a lot about me, but you are incredibly talented, incredibly gifted. I don't know when you sleep, because if you're not running one business, it's another, and this, and serving people, and playing pickleball, and man, taking care of your wife and family, and you are nonstop. You've always got energy. You never halfway do anything. You give it 100%, and you are an inspiration to me in so many ways. So it means a lot that you would think to ask me to be on your podcast, and I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Travis. I appreciate it. And guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Travis Wilson here in Belmont, North Carolina. Make sure you subscribe for future content. Make sure you follow both of us on Instagram. And thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you in the next one.